Andrey, you have come to our studio again, and this time I think you have great, wonderful news. Actually, as far as our viewers know, you have already shown your know-how, let's call it that way. It's a sled that goes by itself. Yes, this is definitely a know-how, 100%. Our viewers have been able to see it twice. A wonderful quad runner. All these vehicles are united by one heart, the motor. It's a DA-90S motor with Slavyanka provided by our partner Viktor Aristov. Currently I know that you have prepared another batch of vehicles in the form of a Husky snowmobile. Let's speak about it in more detail. Well, I would not go to discussing the vehicles straight away. In general, all this appeared only thanks to combined winding motors. When we all started, Obninsk, Moscow, Russia, and other cities, when we entered, no one knew when these motors would appear, but everyone was waiting for them very much. And when they appeared, of course, we could not disregard these motors. We were interested in the production model. The first launched model was DA-90S, and of course I just fell in love with it. All of our guys were delighted with it. The most powerful thing we could do was this sled. Why? Because they are heavy, huge, and we wanted to give it the maximum load that this motor could cope with. So this is a kind of testing. Yes, and we were riding this sled relentlessly for the whole summer. But in fact, we tested this motor. You know, nothing happened to it. I mean, it did not heat and coped perfectly well with any loads. Of course, this prompted making a quad runner. The quad runner is just a separate story. In the summer, we had such a situation. I'll deviate from the subject a little. At the very first tests, when we didn't know how the vehicle operates, the motor was too powerful for it. Vitaly rode into a concrete street curb at a very high speed, and the bump affected the motor directly. The motor itself. Not even the covers, but the stator. And we didn't pay attention then. The quad runner kept going. Maybe you watched the video, it can pull even a 3-ton Tundra. Yes, there is a video. We will leave the link in the description for those who have not seen it. Please pay attention. Yes, and it's especially interesting when it goes in circles there. It's a pure delight. What it did there still gives me goosebumps. I remember you took a ride on it too, and you liked it too. But it all became obvious now when we assembled the next model. One of our partners and investors wanted to put the motor on the Husky snowmobile. This is what its common name is. In fact, this is a mini tractor. It can pull anything. Usually it's used by fishermen, hunters, children who want to go up the mountain, travel around the fields. Quite an interesting entertainment. The last weekend, it snowed, and we came to test the Husky and took a quad runner with us. And for some reason, it began to go slowly. Well, somehow it's not even slow, but a bit sluggish. It was not what it had been like in the summer. I mean, it seemed to function, but no longer ruled. Yes, well, it didn't rule, that's right. You could ride it, go anywhere, but it didn't rule anymore. This irritates us. We know what a DA-100S motor can do. Vitaly here with the help of a knife bayonet. I don't know, I'll send you these pictures and maybe you'll use them somehow. You probably see them now. Yes, to let people have a look at them somehow. With the help of a knife bayonet, he disassembled this motor within 5 minutes. We saw that the entire winding had burned out, so this physical shock has damaged the winding. There was a break and some micro closures. It turned out that that motor was running at half capacity. As I understand, this didn't happen immediately. I mean, some time passed after the impact. Yes, after the impact, we rode it a lot. How long ago did it happen? Probably 4, maybe around 5 months. When we were shooting a video with you. Yes, something like that. That's true. Yes, that's it. And only now it started to go a little slower. I'm saying their motors are quite reliable, right? Let's take any induction motor, damage a single wire and it just never turned on. It will never operate. A combined winding motor is amazing. I would not be sitting here and I would never come to you if it wasn't for these motors. But they raise a lot of questions. This is a complex machine. For me it is difficult. I understand that it's not a complex machine for SovElMash. For me it is just amazing. That's why there are a lot of questions. What is going on? Why it is going slowly? What has happened? And what I liked most about this story is not only that it was riding, but that the motor was replaced in 20 minutes. It was in the winter, it was outside. They took out the winding, put in another winding, and it rode as fast as a rocket. Here we should take into consideration that the motor wasn't replaced, the motor was repaired. The winding was replaced, right? The stator was replaced. The stator was replaced for our audience to understand. They just removed the stator. Roughly speaking, it can be repaired. Roughly speaking, the stator pack with the completed winding was pulled out of the frame, yes, and another one was installed. They installed another one ready-made pre-wound stator, that's it, and rode the vehicle. Yes, you understand what prospects it holds, for example, for the armed forces. The armed forces. And if we take, for example, even not such a complex area, although here I think Slavyanka, due to all of its qualities, has a very good potential. But if we take simply household application, let's say there are sports events, motocross races, quad runners are used for a lot of things. In fact, very often internal combustion engines do not cope. They changed right in the process of operating, and here the stator coped to install it and kept going. I think if there is a professional with tools, not a knife bayonet used for unscrewing and replacing the stator, it will take up to 5 minutes tops, maybe faster. 3 knots. So again, if there is such a task, it is possible to initially build in a faster replacement mechanism. Yes, it's a no-brainer. It can be fixed with the bolts, but with special mounts. For athletes, for military men, for someone else, Duyunov's motors, these induction motors, are just a boon. I don't know. When I hear these questions or comments from people on the webinars, come on, these motors are nothing special, they have been invented hundreds of times. I don't understand what are you talking about, people. You have no idea how lucky you are. You are lucky that you, quite by incident, merely passing by, have learned that there is a project here and got acquainted with it. Never in your entire life you will be offered a project better than the SovElMash project. I assure you, nobody will offer you a better project. Let's go back to the Husky snowmobiles. To these tractors. It's an interesting topic. In the near future, I invite you, as soon as there is snow, there should be plenty of it on the ground. You will be able to test this vehicle yourself. This is such an interesting vehicle. And you can imagine that when we tested it at the weekend, we also had a petrol Husky snowmobile, which is much more powerful than this one. It's larger, more powerful, but first of all, for the whole time while these tests were conducted, this petrol Husky was started. That is, they pulled the stator, it ran out of battery, because it failed, it wouldn't start. They took out the plugs, cleaned them, screwed them, and after 3 hours they started it, then it warmed up for another hour, then they began shooting some video with it. In fact, it was supposed to outperform this small Husky. But we put in a child, a girl, she's a daughter of one of our designers. And she overtook us easily on this electric Husky, as if we were walking on feet. It is easy to control, it's a gadget. It is so convenient to use. It overtook us on the short part of the road with the snow. It was very spectacular. In fact, this is a very cool vehicle for those who like to travel around the forest, for hunters, for fishermen. Yes, and for the household application. Let's say in the country house it will be very useful too. I'm of course against hunting animals, but it's great for riding in the forest or in the mountains. Very exciting. Can you imagine places where there are no chairlifts? An untrodden place somewhere in Sochi. Everyone heads to the chairlift and you can easily go up any mountain. At the same time, you don't need to pull these stators, or what is it called correctly? I understand. On petrol. In general, you don't need to start it and worry. You don't need to start it. No efforts needed in case of an oil or petrol one. You just press the button, turn the lever, you can go back or forward. You don't need all of these switches. It is so convenient and interesting. While we were struggling with the petrol one, our girl and her brother went around all the fields, all the forests, and we, you can imagine, with this cost-efficient motor, did not discharge the battery. That is, it is still there, so you can go and take a ride right now. But it's great, really. In fact, I have experience of riding the so-called traditional huskies. Oh, you do? And I know what it's like and I really liked it, but generally speaking, theoretically, with an electric motor, this thing can be even more interesting. I think that our viewers will have a question with 100% certainty about what is the maximum trip distance is in the heavy load mode. But there is such a thing. I think you can immediately focus attention on it. On any Husky, a petrol tank is quite small. And even if it's a petrol one and you need to take fuel cans or something like that with you, and this is not exactly what you expect from such a vehicle. For long-distance trips, snowcats will probably be used or something like this. And at least on those Huskies which I happen to ride, there it was necessary to combine petrol and oil, so this is the story that now it's separate. Well, maybe the models are just different. Now the petrol motors are also modern. Basically, if the battery retains the charge well. First of all, what kind of battery is it? Well, the battery is a separate topic, we will not cover it. I understand, a business secret. No, it's not a business secret, just the battery. It's not our topic is the motors. I understand. And you know, I would have never got engaged in petrol motors. I would not have got engaged in technology at all if these motors had not appeared. So Duyunov's motors appeared and that was it for me. There are no other motors anymore. I understand that there are petrol motors, someone will argue with me. They are wonderful, and let them be with us for many years, and thank God we have them in our lives. But you see, this is exactly Slavyanka. It opens up wider prospects for all of us. Soon everyone will know about it. Let's imagine a phone appears, right? Well, it's great for anyone. Let's say it's clear, as some say, the phone is the soul. It benefits them. The same situation here. A new motor has appeared. It will bring huge benefits to the country, and above all, it will bring benefits because it saves up to 30% of electrical energy. People don't even realize that instead of building power plants to burn coal and oil and pollute our environment, you can simply change the motors in the production facilities to Slavyanka, and that's it. And nuclear power plants will not need to be put into operation. And this is amazing. Indeed, of course, you need to make specific calculations if you do certain things, but the perspective is the savings that you can get. Again, it is necessary to take into account the fact that, as far as I know, out of 4 standard motors, as a result of processing the material, reusing it, you can make the opposite. I'm mistaken here. Out of 3 standard motors, you can make 4 Slavyanka motors, and it says a lot. But in order to get electricity, quite evident metamorphoses take place. This has a detrimental effect on the ecology of our planet, and at the same time, the resources are used for this purpose. Again, energy is consumed in order to produce energy. Well, it's such a vicious circle. And here we have much more opportunities, other figures. Sure, yes, let's not delve into these figures, these topics. We came here today to ask another bunch of questions to Igor Karhov, Dmitry Alexandrovich Duyunov. Again today, Viktor Aristov has arrived. and we have just bombarded him with questions because we use his motors. I mean the motor that is mass-produced in Weihai. Here we have a few comments, requests to change a little. It will be more convenient for us to produce the vehicles, which we plan to continue making. So, Dmitry Alexandrovich once said that we are a tuning company, but we would not be this tuning company if we didn't have this motor. Generally, of course we would be engaged in doing something, but this is what makes us move forward today. So we are really passionate. But it's wonderful. But if you say that there is a passion, first of all, we always hear the word yes, which means it's not just one person, probably some group of people, maybe a small one. But the point is that you probably have some company. You somehow work not on your own and you have some plans. Thank you. I didn't want to promote anything, but thank you. Let's sort of bring it up because our viewers will have questions. Yes, we have appealed to Obninsk for support, since there is a government of Weihai and there is a government of Obninsk, and it is quite possible that we will be supported in our endeavors. Well, everything is heading in this direction, but since there is a company STiIN and a team of engineers and workers who create vehicles, I mean the first models, we are now looking at what will be promising. So currently you're still working on creating prototypes, as far as I understand. Yes, but there again you said that this is a tuning company. I mean, you take some already existing equipment on the market and adapt it to be used with Slavyanka. So far, yes, so far, our capacity is not enough. We have a lot of ideas, you can imagine. We have a huge number of ideas that require serious investment in order to produce absolutely original equipment, which doesn't exist on the market yet, but we can afford it right now, so we take prototypes of Bolt Motors and some other company, STiIN, and try to adapt them. In the future it will be original equipment. Well, currently if one of our viewers is interested in a Husky, maybe a Quad Runner or a sled, is it possible to contact you and order such a vehicle? This is what we're working for. This is what we're working for. Of course, we understand that vehicles with Duyunov's motors will be in high demand, this is for sure. It will be very popular because it is reliable. So yes, we can already discuss something. We can already make something, and moreover, we will be really glad to do it. In this case, we will now provide your contact details so that everyone is able to contact you directly, ask questions about purchasing a particular vehicle. Yes, Alexander, thank you very much. Thank you very much for informing us a little bit on your channel. And dear viewers, there is a huge favor to ask from you. Don't distract the company's employees with non-related questions. If you have particular intentions, please contact us, communicate, but please spare the time of all the busy people. Thank you. Thank you all. Andrey, tell me, currently you have 3 projects. Yes, that is the Quad Runner, the electric sled, and of course, the Husky. Are you planning something new in terms of the products in near future? Or we should talk about this later. You know, I'm tempted to tell you about everything we're planning. One of the companies contacted us, I'm not going to share all the details, and asked to make an aircraft. Together with Viktor Aristov, we have discussed the delivery of the 112 motor for testing. So, in the near future, we will connect it directly to the screw. So it's something like gyrocopter. Yes, it's something like that, it's a steam aircraft. We will try, connect it, connect a dynamometer of some kind. and simply measure the thrust power. Interesting. If it works, then yes, soon you will see a steam aircraft with Duyunov's motor. Going up. But everything related to the air here has a lot of restrictions and difficulties. There are restrictions concerning weight, and of course, here are motors which work in a wide operational range, are good on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's not clear what it will be like in the air. So it should be tested. But there is such an idea. Again, the controller is used there as far as I understand, so probably something somehow and somewhere needs to be improved. The question is certainly not to me now. We have an engineer who answers these questions, a designer, but this will be possible in the near future. They're now busy with Karhov. I think we will not manage to get them here. That's okay, save tomorrow for tomorrow. I think we will be able to speak about it in more detail too. At the end of the day, we accept your invitation. We will come to you when the weather is good and when you ask us to come. As soon as it snows, yes. I am asking you to come and see how our vehicles with Duyunov's motors rock it. Therefore, dear viewers, if you don't mind, we will definitely do it with you. Thanks. Thank you. Come to us again. See you again. Absolutely.